A long time ago on my YouTube channel, I was doing a little bit of a series that didn't go anywhere, but it was called Old Lego is Cool Lego. Because a lot of people focus on the new stuff, the fancy stuff, the Grebold stuff, the Technic stuff, the snot building stuff, blah, blah, blah. All the new sets are really, really cool, but nobody, well, some people out there talk about old Lego being cool Lego. I didn't bother even looking up the set number. I should have, but this is the one set that I distinctly, well, I actually remember getting a bunch of sets, but this one is a unique set in my past. So this set I got as the first set that I got after what I always call the big melt, TM, the big melt. And I haven't really gone into a video. I don't think I've actually talked about the video. Maybe I'll talk about the video at some point, or I already did years ago, and I might redo the video. But it happened when we were still living at the old house. And so it was before I was 12, and actually I was trying to narrow down the time frame. The big melt happened before 1977 because I got the 854 go-kart, and I still have that 854 go-kart, and that came out in 77. And so that avoided the big melt. So obviously we got it after the big melt. So the big melt happened prior to 1977. So I'm not sure what year the set came out, but it's a mid-70s, early to mid-70s set. And what mom promised us, because it was heartbreaking to see all my Lego destroyed at the time, is that every time we would go to the mall in Hamilton, she would buy us Lego set. So I remember going to the mall the very first time, and her giving, or me seeing this on the shelf and wanting it, and she bought it for me. And so this was basically at that point, this was the only Lego in the house because the rest of the Lego was destroyed. And as we went through the days after the big melt, we found a few pieces here and there that avoided the big melt because they're in an obscure corner or down in the basement or whatever. So there was this. I had a few spare miscellaneous pieces and a 10 by 20 base plate, those old green base plates that came in all those sets. And I distinctly remember that was all the Lego in the entire house. And that's when I spent a lot of time over at my friend's place playing with their Lego because I didn't have hardly any. And then, of course, gradually the collection got bigger. We got the more sets, and then again the 78, 79, the classic space sets came out, and I got some of those. And then our parents stopped buying us Lego, and they started buying my own after that. But this was the one set that I distinctly remember getting because of the big melt, and it was the only actually Lego set in the house for a while. So I play with a lot. And then on top of that, there's another tangent that's related to the story that I'm going to get into in a couple seconds. Just a while back, I don't think it was within the last year, on one of our Facebook groups, one of our Lego Facebook groups, a friend posted from one of their shows that they built, 417 tipper trucks. Now, the tipper truck is basically from the same era as this guy. And the fact that they went out of their way to build 417 of them is just awesome. I think it was 417. It was lots. There's just a table full of tipper trucks, and even a 12 times bigger one that he built out of brick. Just absolutely adorable. And I was thinking, well, I couldn't do that. There's zero way that I could build 417 of these. With the collection that I have, I would have to order lots of pieces. And so I started actually figuring out how many pieces I had. So I have these, and again, I should have, but I didn't. I went through my printed white brick collection, and I pulled these out. I probably have more in the bin that I didn't bother pulling out, but I pulled out these ones, and then I organized them in various states from good to bad. So these are the two good ones. I'll talk about these in a second, and they fade, and then these ones just get more progressively yellowed as they go down, and the same here. So they just get yellowed all the way down. And so most of these did not come from my collection growing up. Most of these I got secondhand with the collections that I bought off of friends and off of everything else, all the used lots that I've got since high school, basically. And I saw this the last time I did a sort, and I remember saying, that's not the same font that I remember when I was a kid. And then I remember this is the font that I had on my bricks when I was a kid. These are what they call serif font. I don't know what kind of font it is. It could be Times New Roman. I don't know. I'm not a font expert. But they got these little poke outs on the letters. That's what they call a serif. On any font that has these poke outs, it's called a serif font. Like fonts have names, but they also have prefixes. So this is serif. This is sans serif. It's without the little outcroppings, the outjottings on the E and the I's and the C's and the L's and the P. And so this is sans serif. This looks to me like it's just Helvetica or Arial, as we like to call it in North America, but just a straight line font, but there's no serifs on them, but you see on these things, these little outcroppings. So this, and again, this could be any font that I think it's Times New Roman, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's my little font thing. So I didn't bother building the cars I wanted to build with these guys. I just leave them out and leave these guys out. Oh, about the headlights. So some of these headlights, the actual black is just like a print from the Lego company. Is a print. It's not a sticker. It's a print right on here. But some of them, there's an indent in the actual brick. It's like they're pressed into the brick. Now, if you ever go to a brick convention, you'll get a 1x8 brick with your name on it and the convention in the year and stuff. And it looks like they took a mini router, a CNC machine, to carve out all the names. Like, you can hear it when I rub my nail across it. So these things are actually indented. Because I was wondering why this was actually looking like goopy and stuff. And at first, when I was looking at it, I said, oh, some kid took his black magic marker to make one of these bricks that have faded back into black. But then I actually looked very, very closely, and no, there's no black marker there. This is just a misprint, a bad misprint, and this is like almost a bad misprint. But it looks like they pushed the printing machine right into the brick. You can see it's actually, and some of these, like this one here, is a little bit indented. Whereas this one here, this one here, the printing is just on the surface of the brick. Whereas these two, they push into the brick. And I'm going, well, I've never noticed that before. I know it happens with the chrome ones, but I never thought it happened with the black. Like if you look at the red, the 1x4 red with the headlights on it, and the blue 1x4 with the headlights on it, the chrome is pushed into the brick. But it's not here on these guys, but it is here. The black is pushed in and it's not here. So I might have to send my buddy Gary an email to ask him if he understands why there's that difference. And if it was like a European, North American thing, or if it's a Canada, US thing. I don't know. I never noticed it before until now. But because I had this and I grabbed all these pieces, I decided to build as many as I could with good bricks. And so I could have built more cruisers, but I would be using these yellowed bricks. So I could have built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more there. And I could have built 3 more. So I could have built 10 more cruisers, but I would be using the bad bricks or the mid bricks. And I would have had to use these guys, which again, there's 2 good ones and the rest are, pretty bleh. So I just wanted to build 12 cruisers and lucky number 13. With the bricks I had, with as good as possible bricks. Now, some people with the astute and sharp eye will say, those 1x1s are not era specific. Some of those 1x1s, like, and then you can actually see the mold injection right on the pip, on the stud, which means that came out well after these pieces, the set came out in the 80s. I can't remember when they changed the molding, but this one is era specific. And my only defense is I wasn't going to go into my 1x1 bins and find era specific. I could have. I'm just too lazy for this video. So some of these cruisers, some of these cop cars have 1x1s from the time, and some of them have 1x1s from 2 years ago. So, oh well, I'm not gonna worry about that. But the trans 2x4 slopes are specific, era specific. The 1x2s I used in the middle, as you can see, it has a little the little tube inside, or whatever, the little thing inside. Those are era specific. The wheels obviously are era specific. And I tried to make sure that the 2x2 are the thick-walled 2x2s, so they're era specific. So I did put a little, quote, little effort into making these things all era specific. Now, otherwise, and again, I should have looked up the set before I started this video. I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe this set, first of all, the lights are actually studded down. They're actually like that instead of the way I put them. But I think, I don't know, something in my memory says that the instructions said to do that, but it's an illegal move now. It wasn't back then. And it actually isn't now because they used it. They used this illegal build in the Saturn V and some place, but I know they use it in the Saturn V because this is the trans 1x2 flag tile that's pushed between two studs. Now, the illegal part is the fact that this stud interferes with this stud, so maybe that's what makes it illegal. But back in the day, if you look at the original lunar lander, it uses this exact build technique for the little radar dishes, the yellow radar dishes on the LEM. So I have no problem doing this. Some people say it's illegal. I don't care. And Lego's done it themselves. So, and I believe, and again, don't quote me on this. I might look you up after this video and kick myself. That the actual set has the entire passenger compartment back one stud, so it goes back. So it has a 3-stud hood and a 1-stud trunk, if I remember correctly, because it's been decades since I actually looked at the instructions of how to build this. I've always built my cars this way, so it's even, front and back are even, because I think it looks good. So this is what I'm used to, and so I keep on building things this way, because I always build things the way I want to, as you know. So I got 12 of them. I'm not, or 13 now. And some are very dusty. Oh my goodness, I have to do some washing. That's really bad. This one's been on my shelf in my room for a couple of years now, and when I rebuilt it. And these 4x10 plates, that one and that one, were probably part of some robot that I built for a robot competition years ago that I left together or something. Because usually my bricks in storage aren't that dusty, but those are pretty dusty. And as I say, every Lego that comes, every piece of Lego that comes into my room that's from a used lot, I clean and I wash. So that's not dust from external, that's just dust from my house. So and that's not because our house is dusty. It's because I usually leave things on display for years at a time on a shelf somewhere, and then the shelf gets too full, and then I just throw it back into the bin. You can see the dust here. C'est la vie. I will endeavor to, as most of them are clean, but there are some that are really dusty, and it's 4x10, so 4x10 black plates. So I can almost guarantee I used them in a robot build, because that's what I would use for a robot build back in the day. And I used to leave my robot builds together, sitting there on the shelf when I was building other stuff. So, c'est la vie. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I am a clean person. I'm not a clean freak, but the house is clean. You can ask my wife when she first met me and she came to my house the first time, and I was living as a bachelor for years in my own house, and she said, "Did you clean up before I showed up?" I said, "No." She goes, "Because usually single guys don't keep a clean house." I mean, I had a Lego room that had Lego pieces on a table like I do now, but I don't like dust. I don't like, I do vacuum, I do clean, not thoroughly. I'm not OCD about it, but I do like a nice clean house. And Sandy and I keep our house as clean as possible. So anybody can drop by at any time. It's not like we work, oh, somebody's coming over, let's clean the house early. Like I just always, like, that's very odd to me, the mentality that people leave their house in a state until company comes over. Why are you cleaning your house for company when you won't clean it for yourselves? Whatever. I am not a clean freak by any stretch, but I do like a house that looks reasonably decent. I don't mind clutter. I don't mind mess. I don't like dirt. Dirt-y. I love dirt outside, but I don't like walking and finding your thought on your socks. This is going off on a crazy tangent right now. I don't like walking on a floor and then finding your socks are just completely filthy dirty. So I'm not a freak by any nature when it comes to cleanliness, but I do put things where they're supposed to be overall. Put things away. Keep the house as clean as possible. Every once in a while, get a Swiffer and do the floor sporadically. Some people have like specific, it has to happen every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. No, don't care. But anyway, get off this tangent, Dave. I'm happy I built these things. I don't know if I'm going to keep them together, but this is as many as I wanted to build. As you saw, I could build more, but I'm not going to. I just might put all these in a Ziploc and put them in one of our totes, along with all the other things that I have in totes now of sets built. But I'm happy. I mean, I do appreciate this specific set, and possibly for the only reason is the one set that we had right after the big melt. And it's a nice little, cute little set for 1970 whatever. And it looks like it's supposed to. It's got the black and white on the back. I really, really like this set. One thing I do have to do is figure out to do with all, because I have a whole tote full of just these 2x2 bricks with wheels. And I have so many of them that I don't know what to do with them all. And I'll never, ever use them all. And it just sits there taking up shelf space. It's the one deficiency, although, you know, on a day like this when I can build 13 cruisers, sure, 26 wheels, not a problem. But it is one of those things I keep on thinking about, and I don't know how I'm going to fix that. But that's a story for another day. Here we go. All done here. And I will probably get back into making videos about the puzzles I've made recently. So if you're interested in that, stick around. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's safe and taking care of themselves. Right now, you know, just know that this too shall pass, as they say. Life is in the end, life is good. Life is awesome. It's better than the alternative. So that's it. Take care. Talk to you soon.